talks out there. And one of them did this really quick talk to about 400, 500 people about no data for you. It's really about the concept of opening up data and not, keeping it close, because there's a lot of people that need data. I've been kind of involved with an open data effort since about 2008. I had a story once from a MPO, I think they're up in the Waterloo area, and they had to go to 150 different websites at that time to get the data they needed for planning studies. And so with that started this concept of this Iowa Geospatial Infrastructure Project, which said, let's get state government entities and local government entities to get data out there as web services so people can grab them and consume them through the web. So Iowa DOT's fulfilled our obligation of that many years ago. Most other agencies have not. But I'm working with the state GIO, Geographic Information Officer, to help other agencies get their stuff up there. DNR is pretty good. DOT and Homeland Security are the three big ones that are really moving along. So this no data for you. This is only a few minute presentation. I had 5 minutes to talk about this, so.
We got the room until 2:30.
So here it is, no data for you, right? Ever feel like you need data but no public entity will share it? Who's been in that situation? Yeah, no one will share you. They want to charge you for it, right? They want to, I want $50, $100, right? Charge you money. We tend to look at our own sandbox and political jurisdiction. Why is it we have a traveler information site, but we only show our state? Because there's a wall, and we don't let anyone leave, right? So you're never going to go to Illinois, and this came with the concept. We saw Illinois put out a traveler information site, and they grayed out everything around Illinois. And it's just like, what? So this kind of represents, hey, why are we only looking inside our own political jurisdiction? Do you need to go to 60 different websites to get what you need? And if you get stuff, is it really authoritative? Or are you cherry picking data from other places? So we want to avoid that, right? So how you do this is you keep your data close to you, right? That's what you want to do. We know it. We want to keep it close to you because we don't want anyone to question your data. It may be wrong, right? We know that the Death Star, anyone that's a Star Wars fan, knows that they had a fatal flaw. Maybe if they would have opened their data to the rest of the empire, the rebels would have been destroyed, right?
There's always one. There's always a one.
Right. And we don't want someone to take my job, because if I open my data up, they may want to take my job from me, right? So, anyone ever know that person that has the label? Anyone know what this thing is? Who doesn't know what this thing is?
Probably.
Okay, it's a label maker. Back in the olden days, there was this way to make labels. You pick the letter, you press the button, and put the letter in the plastic, you turn the dial, you press the button, and so you made labels, right? Scrap, I love you, scrapbook by blah, right? Who knew the person in your office that always kept the label maker and would never let anyone else use it? They were in charge of making labels, right?
What do you need?
Yeah.
What do you need?
Yeah, what do you need? I'll make it for you, right? You have a label maker.
I have a label.
But you don't have one of these, you have a nice one. So he labels everything in his office. So don't be these people, right? Don't be them. So we need to change how we look at data. Now, does anyone know what this picture is?
An old picture.
Okay, it's a little fuzzy.
Somebody's told me this is a DOT.
Yes, this is an Iowa DOT picture.
Yeah.
So this is an Iowa DOT video log from the late 50s, early 60s. This is how we would video log a road. Who's an engineer in here? Some engineer decided that they could engineer a tall ladder on the back of a station wagon. There's a guy up here with a camera, right? So some engineer decided they were going to put somebody up there and drive, right? That's how you did video log. Either you sat in here with the camera out, or if you need to get a higher angle of the surroundings, you climbed up this ladder.
You can see that they carefully calculated how much weight those back tires can take.
Yes, they did. And, look,
They are pretty
and they
well-
even have extension ladders in here, so I'm not sure if that goes higher or not.
They're pretty maxed out.
Yeah. So this is how we used to video log, right? So imagine we're doing this today. I'm sure that guy's not buckled in. He's probably like holding on.
Yeah.
Got the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, only go 10 miles an hour. There's a power line coming up, right? This is how it's done today. Things like this, right?
$10 an hour. He's probably making a dime an hour.
This is how we do things today. It's very simple. 360, it's doing LiDAR, it's doing everything else all at the same time. So we need to change with our data. So basically, throw everything out the window and let's have a mind-blowing experience, right? Let's leave. Most of us here are not guarding state secrets. We're not guarding nuclear weapons codes. We're not guarding state secrets here at the Iowa DOT. Sometimes we're guarding things because contractually we can't let them out. Sometimes we're guarding things because we're doing some very specific analysis of things. So let's open it up. So let people use it. Great things can happen. When we first did the plow stuff back in 2012, put the plows out, the whole thing was they're going to tell us where to plow the roads. No, it didn't happen. Media loved it, right? They saw that we were doing something. Now we started humanizing our operations, right? Things like that. So we actually have a data policy in our GIS. There's a GIS policy. I can't remember the number. It's like 300.12 or something. You can go look it up. I'm not a big policy person, but we do have a GIS policy that says all data is open unless it's deemed confidential. So if you're going to work with us, it's going to be open unless you have a reason for it to be locked down and confidential. And I'll push you on it, and don't be offended if I push you on it, but I'll push you on it, and then you'll give me good reasons, and then I'll be like, oh, that sounds great. We're all friends, so I'll move forward, right? So, and we want to leverage as we open data tools to make data available to
You'll
people.
push to make sure that there's a reason it's confidential.
There's a reason it's confidential. A lot of people say it's because I don't want anyone to question it. Well, you know what? If a public finds that something's wrong with it, that's okay. We're all human, make mistakes. Oh, let's fix it and let's make it right, okay? So, there might be a fatal flaw in it, okay? That's fine. We're not perfect. I love that graphic. This is the first presentation I'm actually been able to run that graphic because if you use Prezi, it doesn't run. So, okay, all right. Hopefully it'll show up on your recording.
Oh, well.
Okay. A little bit about pyramids of open data success. You need executive support of that. We have that here. When Trombino was here, we had support at his level. My boss, who I report to, John Selmer, big advocate of data, open data. We need to govern it. So we have some governance processes going on to learn how to standardize things. We haven't standardized route naming at this agency yet. Things like that. We got to standardize things. And then set priority of what data is really important that needs to be governed and things like that. We have to have enterprise databases, which we do. We got to get to an enterprise way of doing data management. One of the, your crash stuff, very well data managed, right? Very, very well governed. There can be mistakes in it, but I would bet you anything, 99.9% of that data is probably correct. Would you agree? Maybe it's 99.
99.
Yeah, but it's very high quality, right?
Very high.
Very. So it meets these pyramids, right? And then we have web services, and those web services are open, and those web services are easy to use. People can get the data. That's why we have our open data portal, WebGIS, things like that. So, all right. So how we did it, we leveraged the pyramids. You didn't realize that we leveraged the pyramids, but we did. So, embraced REST services back in 2008. That's where we started getting our WebGIS going. We already had enterprise database infrastructure in place at Iowa DOT. We've been lucky that we've had SQL Server and Oracle stuff in place since the late 90s and early 2000s. So I've had the joy of working on that stuff since that time. So I was one of the first implementers of the Oracle spatial side of things. So create a policy, and our GIS policy is all data is open unless deemed confidential. And we leverage this open data portal that Esri has given us, which is free. And here's an example of those portals. Here's the open data portal again. This one's right, data.iowadot.gov, right? Here's just kind of an example. Here's what it looks like. You have categories, you have featured applications in there. Look, we even thrown up some statistics. This is reading live from the services, right? Yep. So if you have something related to crash that you wanted to put on this portal, we could put a little thing here that could just show. Or signs. How many signs do you have? Or what are you collecting from the locals? What do you want to collect?
Basically, that's where all the attributes around an intersection, or where the stop signs are.
Yeah. How many intersections do we have, or how many have we collected so far that we have? We're trying. So these are ticker things that we can add to this site. We just threw these up here because we're just throwing a dart right now and showing people what the possibilities are.
Why do you think we have 2,307 miles of cable barrier?
That's what's coming out of the cable barrier REST service. So whoever entered the data and his management of that data, so good, we're getting some questioning.
Okay.
So we don't own any data. We make it available.
So you can question all you want.
You can question it.
Okay.
I'm not going to question it because I don't know. But if you see that something's suspicious, I think you need to take a look and maybe it's not. You can say, hey, let's replace this with Crash and let's get that fixed. Or whatever. I'm not sure who owns the cable barriers. Right now, I don't know who owns that one. So
You're almost 400 miles of cable at 4 different strands going across, that's what that's saying. Because it's probably being drawn from either your maintenance or your supply construction.
we need to find out who owns it.
Okay.
And then they have to ask the question because I'm pretty sure right now the metadata about that probably doesn't say what that represents.
Okay.
So, okay. So, as an example of how people use your data. So here's examples of how people use data. So I'm so invested with the plow stuff. Here's a plow picture, right? The news is using it, right? They're showing where our plows are at, all that good stuff. So they're pretending like it's theirs, which is great. So when you have open data, people love it, right? MPOs, RPAs are using it. Iowa State, different universities, consultants, businesses, government entities, citizens, college students, Waze, here, all that stuff. Cats read when this happens. All right? You also get kudos, Great to see what's happening, right? Setting an example, copy them, right? I love this one. Wish Minnesota did something similar, really awesome. Guess what? Minnesota does that now. I don't know if they would have ever done it unless we did it first. Started equipping their cameras on their plows. So we set a trend. So there were no Minnesota people on my presentation in San Diego. I asked, anyone here from Minnesota? And then I pointed this out. And so, all right. With that, that's it. So that's kind of data. All right.